Hello, sports fans. This is the Bookmaker Podcast with Art Eftekhari, a.k.a. Mr. Bookmaker, your source for the sports betting industry 24/7. Sit back, relax, and listen as Mr. Bookmaker highlights what's happening right now in the world of sports. So, without further ado, here's your host, Art Eftekhari.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Bookmaker Podcast. I'm your host, Art Eftekhari. Really glad that you can join us. Before we get started, get to our website. You know the address, bookmakerinfo.com. That's www.bookmaker-info.com. We got the links to all the best European, Asian, and United States-friendly bookmaker sites. And of course, don't forget, our Bookmaker Guide is available for you to download. So hurry up and download it. I want you to become an expert on this entire online betting process. Now, before we get to our main agenda, you know I always remind you about a certain something. So don't forget, get to our website as soon as you can. Check out our blogs. Patrick knows his American sports. And of course, Dan is the master with cricket. And of course, don't forget to check out the Mr. Bookmaker football blog or soccer, depending on where you are in the world, especially if you want to be up to date on UEFA Nations League. First thing is first, let's get to our A to Z sports betting lingo. Now, what is our concept for today? It is taking the points. Now, what does it mean when you say taking the points? It means betting on the underdog and its advantage in the point spread. So don't forget, taking the points. All right, now to kick things off, I am at Pinnacle, the address www.pinnacle.com. And of course, for all you football, soccer lovers out there, naturally we know UEFA Champions League is going on, but right now I'm really focused on a different Champions League, and that is the AFC Champions League, the Asian Champions League. The 2018 finalists are now known. Those teams, Kashima Antlers of the top flight in Japanese football against Persepolis, the two-time defending champions of the Iranian Pro League, and this is going to be an exciting one. Both Kashima Antlers and Persepolis will be debuting in their first ever, will be making their first appearances in the Asian Champions League final. And different, though, from UEFA Champions League, is that Asian Champions League is played over two legs. You know, the first leg will be played on the 3rd of November in Japan. The second leg will be played in the capital of Iran, Tehran, at the always intimidating Azadi Stadium. That'll be on the 10th of November. Let's take a look at the odds. What are the bookies saying at Pinnacle? When looking at the odds here, negative 240 for Kashima Antlers, positive 186 for Persepolis. Clearly, we know this, that Kashima Antlers are favored. I mean, Persepolis even getting to the final has been quite the feat. They got past Al Sadd of Qatar in the semifinals. They've been clawing their way all the way. Yes, they're not favored, but they do have players on their squad that can make the big plays. And they also have goalkeeper Ali Reza Behranvand, who played for Iran at the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. It's going to be an exciting two legs. So get to Pinnacle as soon as you can if you want to place a wager on the 2018 Asian Champions League final. And of course, there's also special bets available at Pinnacle right now, especially for soccer or football, depending on where you are in the world. You could place wagers on whether or not Bayern Munich will win the 2018-2019 Bundesliga, or even with the EPL. Do you think Liverpool will win the league? Do you think Manchester City will win the league? And of course, if you are big on La Liga, don't forget the simple question, though, will Barcelona win the league? I'll say probably, considering that they had just defeated or destroyed Real Madrid 5-1 in El Clasico. And of course, you can go ahead and place a wager on who you think is going to win this current edition of UEFA Champions League. And of course, if you would like to know more about this online bookie Pinnacle, get to our website as soon as you can. We have the latest bookie review called At the Pinnacle of the Sports Betting World. You'll learn everything you need to know about online bookmaker Pinnacle. So like I said, get to that address as soon as you can. That is www.pinnacle.com. And before we continue, get to our website as soon as you can. You know what you have to do. Of course, we got the Bookmaker Guide to help you become an expert at this online betting process, we have tips on how to register, bet, and withdraw. Like I said before, we got the links to all the best European, Asian, and United States friendly bookmaker sites. So stop wasting time, hurry up and get this done. Okay, and continuing on now. Where am I headed to this time? You could probably take a guess. No, it's not Paddy Power, it is William Hill. The address, www.williamhill.com. Now, similar to other editions of the Bookmaker Podcast, I'm really into the hashtag Your Odds. So, take a look at your odds for future football possibilities. First one, how about Darren Moore not to be the West Brom manager on Christmas Day 2018? If you feel like placing a bet on that one, the odds 4-1. And right now, when looking at the table, of course, I'm looking at the championship table, the second level of football in England. West Brom with 25 points. Well, just going to keep an eye on that wager. Moving on now. How about Gerrard to win the EPL with Liverpool and Giggs, of course, Ryan Giggs, to win with Man United by 2034. 14-1 odds for that one. All right, that's an interesting one. What about Jose Mourinho not to be Manchester United's manager and Pep Guardiola not to be the Man City manager on December 31st, 2018? 25-1 odds for that one. Really got the interesting ones coming out here. Now, as for another hashtag Your Odds, this one involving the English Championship, Lukas Jutkiewicz to score over 20 goals in the 2018-2019 Championship. Odds for that, evens. You know, and I must say, I have not really paid much attention to the English Championship. Reason why? Well, of course, my favorite team, Cardiff City, is back in the English Premier League. But I got to make sure not to get arrogant, not to get cocky, because it will be tough for Cardiff City to stay in the top flight of English football. You know, there's so many good teams, a lot of competition. I mean, when looking at the table now, fortunately, Cardiff is in 17th with 5 points, but just edging Fulham on goal difference. So there's no reason to be thinking that, that Cardiff's in cruise control. But of course, I'm rambling a little bit. Let me get back to the main topic. And actually, let me get back to our main agenda. And I am still at William Hill. That's www.williamhill.com. Like I said earlier, really crazy about the hashtag Your Odds. Checking out future politics. Listen in, check this out. What do I got next to share with you from the bookies at William Hill involving the world of politics? First, 2-9 odds for Ted Cruz to win the Texas Senate seat and Republicans to hold the Senate. Of course, these are for the 2018 elections. What about now 4-9 odds? Democrats to win majority in Congress and GOP to win Senate in the 2018 midterms. Of course, this time of the year, everyone is election crazy, getting ready to go to those polls and place their votes. Next one, 10-1 odds. Beto O'Rourke to be the President of the United States of America by the end of 2040. Let's just say I need to pay attention to more of the political news. Another one involving Beto O'Rourke. This time to win the 2024 United States presidential election, 25-1 odds. Next, involving the UK, 33-1 for most seats at the next UK general election to be won by a party other than Tories, Labour, Liberals, UKIP, or the Greens. Like I said, 33-1 odds for that one. Next, also with 33-1 odds, Ivanka Trump to be the first female president of the United States before the year 2025. Don't know what to say about that. I can't say I know a lot about Ivanka Trump, but I wonder, does she sound similar to her father? Does she make those same gestures? Is there a hint of orange hair? Are there talks about hands and all that? I've heard so much about Donald Trump just from visiting these online bookies. Another one, of course, 33 seems to be the lucky number. 33-1 odds for Al Franken to win the 2024 U.S. presidential election. Next, 100-1 odds, Beto O'Rourke to win the 2028 U.S. presidential election. Like I said, I have a lot of catching up to do. Last but not least, drum roll please, with 100-1 odds, Matt Damon to be the President of the United States by the end of 2040. When I look at that, I right away say, is it possible? Will Matt Damon get involved in politics? Well, sure, we all know Ronald Reagan was once president of the United States, and he had a very good acting career. I'm just glad it does not say anything about Ben Affleck to be the president of the United States by the end of 2040. And if that does happen, I'm pretty sure it's going to be because Matt Damon does all the work and Ben Affleck just sits around and does nothing. And with that, everybody, it is time to wrap up this edition of the Bookmaker Podcast. Like I said, get to William Hill, the address, williamhill.com. Really do appreciate the support. Like I said before, check out our blogs. Patrick, of course, the master with American sports. He did a lot of work writing about the 2018 World Series. Of course, Red Sox came out victorious. Dan, of course, always on point, talking about cricket. And don't forget to check out the Mr. Bookmaker football blog or soccer, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Bookmaker Podcast.
This has been the Bookmaker Podcast with Art Eftekhari, a.k.a. Mr. Bookmaker. Thanks for listening. If you haven't already, please show some love by subscribing to this podcast on iTunes or Stitcher. Till next time, this is Mr. Bookmaker over and out.